Hello everyone. Today in Analyzing Everyone we open our case on Commander Pattrick Quinlan. This character is played by Jamie Dornan in the Netflix original movie The Siege of Jadotville. So I won't wait any longer and let's start our second episode of Analyzing Everyone. We are looking at Jamie Dornan. He plays Commander Pattrick Quinlan. Quinlan is a commander for the Irish army. Ireland has a neutral position when it comes to conquering countries or areas. Because of this, Pattrick Quinlan does not have a single experience of being a leader of an army in war zone. They get sent off to Africa to defend an important landmark for the United Nations. We don't know a lot about the history of Quinlan. In the film we don't hear anything about his parents. What we do know is that he believes in God. He has a wife, her name is Carmel Quinlan, and they live together in Ireland. Carmel thinks that her husband is very brave, and she says this multiple times during the film. They live together in a house and have no children. Quinlan and his wife do have a dog, but this dog is never seen, only mentioned once by his wife when she says,
"Your dinner's in the dog."
Quinlan himself is not some commander that has a lot of status because of his war experiences. He's nowhere near that status of a veteran and he's never been to war before. What we do know is that he reads a lot. He knows everything about tactic and strategy because of the books he has read. A couple of these books are shown when he shook off the French mercenaries after their first ever real battle. This small shot is very interesting to stand still by, but we will do this later on in this episode. Besides that he likes to read, we also know that he loves music. When he is dancing with his wife at home before their journey in Africa, they are listening to a song made by Sam Cooke, who died in 1964.
I love this song.
Quinlan probably bragged a lot against his wife about how good he will be in battle. She asked him,
"Don't you want to see if you're as good as you think you are?"
when Quinlan looks a bit stressed after the phone call that made the mission official. When talking to his crew before their journey to Africa, he doesn't seem that much of a leader yet. He doesn't talk as loud as a commander should do, and the look in his eyes tells us that Quinlan does this for the first time. His crew and himself are what Quinlan calls
war virgins.
Before the first battle, Quinlan and the French mercenaries talk to each other in a local bar. This is Quinlan's first encounter with the enemy, although this shouldn't be the enemy, but just the protector of the mines of General Tsombe in Africa. Quinlan does notice that the mercenaries don't like the Irish, and after some words going back and forth between the two,
Only took them 2 weeks to take over your entire country.
Quinlan finds it necessary to ask for reinforcement for the first time. Their first fight will occur, and you can already see that Quinlan knows what he does. His crew thinks he doesn't, but this will quickly change. Quinlan and his crew succeed to deflect the attack of the mercenaries, but he is still not the leader he wants to be. This is seen when Quinlan wants to stop the shooting. Quinlan's command to his army to stop firing is
Cease fire!
But be honest, he has to scream this way harder will everyone hear this. This is a sign that Quinlan is still a
War virgin!
and not a real leader. After the fight, Quinlan will ask for reinforcement again. This time he asks for some booze as well. Irish whiskey to be specific.
Do some whiskey.
Alright, now back to the book part of Quinlan and why this is such an important scene. First of all, let's ascertain that Quinlan is someone that knows all his strategies and tactics from books, and these 4 books are probably his favorite and thus most important ones to take with him to Africa. The third book we see from above is Rommel's Strategies of War. This book is all about the strategies that were used by Erwin Rommel, who was important in the German battles that were fought in Africa during World War II.
That's a Rommel saying. I never liked Rommel.
This means that everything Rommel knows and everything Rommel wrote is about the environment of Africa, a huge advantage for Pattrick Quinlan. The 2 books on top are about the First World War. This war was also known as the trench warfare, so it isn't some sort of coincidence that we see these trenches being dug the first day after they arrive at the grounds they needed to defend. Quinlan knows this is a great tactic if you're protecting a place with a lot of weak points.
We've got exposure on 3 approaches.
2 have shovels. We do.
I don't think I have to say much about the last book. Napoleon was one of the best military leaders if it comes to strategy. In this scene you will see Quinlan throwing these books off his bed against a wall or something. After this, he sits on the bed and you can almost hear him think. Throwing the books away means that he knows he has to do it by himself. He can't find help anymore and it's up to his ideas and his willpower of his crew. I think this is a really underrated scene of the film and maybe one of the best. At the second fight, Quinlan spots a white man in a white suit. He asks the sniper on top of the building if he can reach him. The sniper says yes and shoots him perfectly in his heart. The man in the white suit is instantly dead. Quinlan and the sniper wonder if he is an important person on the enemy's side. And personally, I think this is a weird scene. The scene could have been great. The shot is clear and everything looks really cool and clean, but Quinlan is a smart man. Why does he doubt the importance of the white man in the white suit? I mean, look at the whole battlefield. There's one single man in an expensive white suit giving orders from all the way back at the battlefield. Of course he is important. In the middle of the second battle, you hear Quinlan's voice getting more leader-like, as he shouts,
Ceasefire!
with more confidence. He does sound like a real commander at this point, a leader of his group. When talking to the French mercenaries in the siege fire stage of this battle, he leaves his white flag in the middle of the battleground, so the crew knows how much distance the enemy is holding position. This is one indicator of how smart Quinlan is.
Use that flag as a range marker.
In the fourth battle, Quinlan has another brilliant way to eliminate their enemy. Quinlan realizes all the bullet shells on the ground can come in handy. Earlier, a helicopter of the United Nations delivered explosives to Quinlan and his crew. He gathered all these explosives to specific locations, and together with all these already fired shells, they make a bomb. After the French mercenaries come closer and in range of the self-made explosives, Quinlan signs to detonate the bomb. Because of this, Irish crew has more time to come up with a second plan, because he now deflected the first wave of mercenaries. Eventually, Quinlan has to surrender. He does this by not saying a word to the French mercenary and just gives a handshake. This really shows that Quinlan knows he actually won the fight. They lost no men and killed a lot of the enemy's team. Quinlan is too proud to admit he lost battle, and thus only gives a handshake. Earlier in the film, you can see Quinlan talking about a battle where Julius Caesar was the leader of the army. Here, he talks about defeating an army of 200,000 people with only a crew of 60,000. This reflects on the battle Quinlan and his army just fought against the mercenaries. When asking his crew what to do and if they should surrender, they all say no and want to keep on fighting. This also makes Quinlan proud of his crew. His soldiers are ready to go down for their crewmates, and you can really see the progression this group has made. So, that leaves us by our last question. Who was Pattrick Quinlan really? Quinlan was a commander of the Irish army that went to their first war. He has a wife, a dog, and he believes in God. Quinlan knows everything about strategies because of reading books of the best strategists in war history. This is shown at the trenches being dug, the quotes of Rommel, the stories he tells about Julius Caesar, and the books he throws off his bed after their first battle.
That's a Rommel saying. I never liked Rommel.
Quinlan is smart as well, and knows exactly how to act when he comes under pressure. This returns in the form of humor and improvisation. He jokes in his enemy's face, and you can hear his humor a numerous times over the whole film. The improvisation can be seen when he makes the explosives with the already fired gun shells, and his overall smartness is also reflected in acts like this. Quinlan is an Irishman, and if Irish people been known for something, then it would be their drinking game. Quinlan asks multiple times for whiskey. He drinks beer even on their first visit to a local marketplace, and in Ireland he probably goes to the pub on a regular basis.
We could do with some whiskey. We could do with some whiskey.
You also see the progression Quinlan makes during the time in Africa, growing from someone who has never been to a war to someone everyone respects. After he got back from Africa, he even has the balls to hit someone above his rank in his face. You can see that Quinlan first does not scream as a leader. Later, he will do this without hesitation, because he became a real leader.
Ceasefire! Ceasefire!
Because this story is based on a true story, it even makes it more spectacular than it already was. I was really impressed by the film, and also about Jamie Dornan's role as Pattrick Quinlan. His acting is really impressive in this film. And with that said, this was the second episode of Analyzing Everyone. I really hope some people will see this. Consider subscribing if you like this video, and I will see you soon in episode 3.
I looked up the Irish Army to see how many wars they've been in. You know what I found? None. And as for you, Commandant, you never been in battle.
Not sure about that. Been married for 10 years.